Have you ever felt that gut-wrenching suspicion, that sinking feeling in your stomach that something just isn't right in your relationship? You try to dismiss it, telling yourself it's just your imagination, that you're being paranoid. But then, the signs become too obvious to ignore. That was my life for months. This is the story of how my world was turned upside down, and how a single, password-protected device held the truth I both dreaded and desperately needed to find. Her phone, which used to be left casually on the kitchen counter, was now her constant companion. It was always in her hand, on her lap, or clutched tightly in her purse. It was face down on the nightstand, and the screen would light up with notifications at all hours, notifications she'd quickly dismiss with a flick of her thumb. When I'd ask who it was, the answer was always the same vague, "Oh, just work," or "It's just the group chat." But the way she'd angle the phone away from me, the way her fingers would fly across the screen as she typed, it felt secretive. The distance between us grew. Our conversations became transactional, focused on bills and groceries. The laughter that used to fill our home was replaced by an uncomfortable silence. When I tried to initiate intimacy, she'd often claim she was too tired or had a headache. I started to feel like a stranger in my own home, living with a roommate I barely knew. I tried to talk to her about it. I'd say, "Sarah, I feel like we're drifting apart. Is everything okay?" And that's when the tears would start. Every single time. Her eyes would well up, her voice would crack, and she'd accuse me of not trusting her. "How can you say that? I'm working so hard for us, and you're accusing me of—" "What?" she'd cry. She was so convincing, so genuinely hurt, that I'd immediately feel guilty. I would apologize, pull her into a hug, and tell myself I was the one with the problem. I was being insecure, unsupportive. Her tears were a weapon, and they worked flawlessly every time. They were a shield that deflected all my questions and made me the villain of my own story. This cycle of suspicion, confrontation, tears, and guilt went on for what felt like an eternity. My mental health was taking a nosedive. I couldn't focus at work. I was losing sleep. My friends noticed I was withdrawn and anxious. They'd ask what was wrong, but I was too ashamed to voice my fears. How could I tell them I thought my wife, my Sarah, was cheating on me? It felt like a betrayal just to think it. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. It was our anniversary. I had taken the day off, booked a table at the restaurant where we had our first date, and bought her a necklace she'd been admiring for months. I sent her a text in the morning. "Can't wait to celebrate with you tonight, my love. 7 p.m. at La Trattoria?" Hours went by. No reply. I called her office, and the receptionist, a sweet lady named Carol, said, "Oh, Sarah took the day off today, dear. Said she was feeling under the weather." My blood ran cold. She wasn't at work. She wasn't sick, because she hadn't mentioned it. So where was she? I called her cell, and it went straight to voicemail. I called again, and again. Panic set in. My mind raced through the worst-case scenarios. Had she been in an accident? Was she hurt? But a darker, more cynical voice in the back of my head whispered the truth. She finally came home around 6 p.m. She walked in looking flushed and a little disheveled, and feigned surprise when she saw me. "Oh, honey, you're home early," she said, her voice a little too bright. "I was just out running some errands. I completely forgot what day it was." She forgot our anniversary. The woman who used to circle the date on our calendar and plan for weeks had forgotten. The lie was so lazy, so insulting, it was like she wasn't even trying anymore. That's when I snapped. "Stop it," I said, my voice dangerously calm. "Just stop lying, Sarah." Her familiar defense mechanism kicked in. The tears started to flow. "What are you talking about? I just had a busy day and you're attacking me the second I walk in the door," she sobbed. But this time, her tears didn't work. They were like water on stone. I saw them for what they were, a performance. "You weren't at work," I said. "I called. You took the day off. You weren't running errands. Your phone was off. Where were you, Sarah?" She just stood there, crying, offering no explanation, just a waterfall of manipulative tears. That night, we slept in separate rooms for the first time in our marriage. The silence in the house was deafening. The next morning, she left early, claiming she had to make up for her sick day. In her rush, she made a mistake. A single, life-altering mistake. She left her phone on the charger in the kitchen. I stared at it, my heart pounding in my chest. It felt like a bomb ticking away on my counter. This was it. The moment of truth. My hands were shaking as I picked it up. It was locked, of course. I tried her birthday. No. Our anniversary. No. The dog's name. No. Then, a flicker of memory. A few months ago, she was complaining about a colleague named Mark. "Mark is so annoying, he's always trying to one-up everyone." She mentioned his name a lot. Maybe too much. On a gut feeling, I typed in MARK, followed by his cubicle number she had once mentioned in passing, 123. The phone unlocked. My breath caught in my throat. I had just walked through the looking glass. I opened her messages, and there it was. Not just weeks, but months. Months of conversations with Mark at work. But the messages weren't about work. They were filled with, "I miss you," "I can't wait to see you," and heart emojis. They had their own pet names for each other. I saw their plans for yesterday, our anniversary. "Can't wait to have you all to myself for the whole day, beautiful." My stomach churned. I clicked on the photo gallery, and there they were. Pictures of them at a hotel, pictures of them kissing at a park, a selfie of them in a bed, tangled in sheets, smiling at the camera. It was a visual record of her betrayal, a gallery of my heartbreak. She had not only lied to me, but she had built an entire separate life. The late nights, the work emergencies, the forgotten anniversary, it all clicked into place. The woman who cried and made me feel like a monster for doubting her was the same woman smiling in another man's arms. Her tears weren't of hurt, but of frustration at being questioned. They were a tool to hide her deception. When she came home that evening, I didn't say a word. I just placed the unlocked phone on the dining room table, the picture of her and Mark displayed on the screen. She saw it. The color drained from her face. For the first time, there were no tears. There was no fake indignation. There was just the cold, hard, ugly truth, reflected in her wide, terrified eyes. The phone had revealed everything her tears had tried so desperately to conceal. Facing betrayal is one of the most painful experiences a person can go through. It shatters your trust, not just in your partner, but in your own judgment. If you're going through something similar, please know you are not alone, and it is not your fault. Seeking support from friends, family, or a professional therapist can make all the difference in navigating these dark waters and finding your way back to the light. Healing is a journey, but it is possible. Thank you so much for listening to my story. It wasn't easy to share, but I hope it can help someone out there who might be feeling that same doubt and confusion I felt. If this resonated with you, please consider hitting that like button and subscribe for more stories about navigating life's toughest challenges. See you in the next one.